This tutorial will be on how to play the Fantaisie-Impromptu by Chopin. In this video, I want to share my knowledge on how to perform this piece effectively in a storytelling way. We will first check how to practice with hands separate, which is the key to learning it quickly and stably. I will also explain how to practice the polyrhythm between the right and the left hand, which can be challenging, especially at the beginning stage. After that, we will work on pedaling, timing, rubato, and finally I will put everything together. Let's start with the intro. It's a fantasy. I want to start dramatically with these 2 octaves. Deep and powerful sound. Imagine pushing the keys with your back muscles. Not the shoulder, but the back. Right after the octaves, I want to lighten the left hand by decreasing the dynamics gradually. What is very crucial to do here is to highlight the significant tones, which Chopin puts very clearly by placing the bass notes. Try to bounce with your wrist each time you play the bass tones, and the rest much softer, which will help you to create sort of a wavy feeling. Try to master this movement before moving further, as the left hand continues with this texture for the most of the piece. Let's hear the next 8 bars. Let's keep in mind that we need to play relatively softly, to not dominate the right hand when they are played together. For 2 bars, I will play the first bass tone slightly more, and the second ones less powerful. After, I will increase the dynamics as the tension in harmony grows, and decrease as it relaxes. The next 4 bars, we have the same plan. Alright, now let's play the whole first section, only the left hand. Let's move on to the right hand. Take a look at the first 2 bars. In both of them, we start with a pause, and therefore we cannot highlight the beat in the same way as the left hand. I will start rather softly, then develop the passage towards D sharp, which is the other significant beat. From there on, I will right away alleviate the intensity towards the end of the bar. Imagine moving towards D sharp, and then going away, which makes it sound melodic rather than mechanic. We repeat the same in the second bar. In the next 2 bars, we have a longer motif. There is a crescendo towards the highest point of the melody, and then we have a decrescendo towards the end of the next bar. Let's build it up towards B, then let's lighten it gradually. Now without interruption. Okay, now let's play the whole 4 bars. In the next 4 bars, we have a similar start, the same direction in the first bar. Next bar a little bit more excited. Then we build it up towards the next bar. In the last bar, we will decrease the dynamics to end this phrase nice and softly. Now the whole 4 bars. Alright, let's talk about the wrist movement. I want you to try bouncing with your wrist before the stronger points of the melody. There are several reasons for that. First of all, you will produce a natural sound, which is very important, especially when we want to play more powerful, because an aggressive sound would take away so much from Chopin's music. The other reason is that by bouncing with your wrist, you will achieve certain flexibility, which will be very helpful to play painless, as it will force us to flex our wrist quite often. Let's remember what are the stronger points in this section. In anticipation of the strong beat, start a circular movement downward and use the upward movement as a source of power for the beat. So guys, please take the flexibility and the lightness in touch very seriously, because it will play a huge role in the result. Well, the time has come to put both hands together. It's without a doubt a scary thing to play 4 against 3 for many people. Honestly, that was the very reason I didn't feel like playing this piece when I was a child and saw the scores for the first time. Today I'm going to show you how to do this less painfully and make it work quicker. Even if you are comfortable with playing 4 against 3, I recommend trying what I'm about to show, because it will add precision and good control to your playing. Let's first check how they coincide with each other. The first bass tone is placed on the pause. The second tone is in between G sharp and A. And the third tone is placed in between A and G sharp. Let's for a moment assume there is another G sharp instead of the pause. It would sound like this. One more time. Slightly faster. Now let's avoid the first G sharp. Let's go for the second group. Everything is placed at the same place as the first group. Let's do the third group. And the fourth. This is basically how we can place 4 against 3. Now I will give you an exercise which has 3 steps. I recommend you implement this routine to your practicing on the Fantaisie-Impromptu. It will affect your playing greatly. The first step. I will repeat each group 2 times and also connect it with the next group. There will be a pause in between them. I will show it slowly, but I recommend trying it even slower at first. The second step. Now I will play pair 2 groups and repeat them twice as well. Also here I will connect them with the next group and have a break in between. The third and the last step. I will play each bar 2 times and connect it with the next bar. Also here I will have a pause in between them. I will also include this exercise in the description. Alright, I will play the intro and the first section with both hands. Then we will move on. Let's move on to the next section. Right hand first. As you see, there is a melodic line which is played twice in the lower and the higher register. The key point is to be very precise with the accents. In this section, we have 2 phrases in 2 different sound worlds, due to differently placed accents. First, we have an expressive melody in the lower register, and later a reflection, starting far away in the higher register. The first 4 bars, the dynamic is forte, and after that it is piano. Then we increase the dynamics to forte again, followed by decreasing to pianissimo at the end. Let's talk about phrasing. In the first bar, I like to start excited and cool it down right after. And in the second bar, I want to bring back the excitement. In the third bar, we start excited and cool down at the end of the fourth bar. Now let's play the whole texture. If you listen to the melody, you will hear that when it goes downwards, I decrease the tension, and when it goes upwards, I increase it. In this way, we can naturally follow the melodic line. In the next part, I will start with similar phrasing. It will be very soft though. Imagine you are still very excited, but you don't want anyone to know. Then I will build it up for the next two bars, perhaps even explosively. From this point on, I will decrease the dynamics gradually towards the end of the phrase. Let's talk about the left hand. Musically, there is nothing really surprising here. I would play with corresponding dynamics as the right hand, but softer of course. What we especially need to take care of is to play with a similar approach as we did before. The bass is significant and the rest is softer and wavy. Try it slowly and listen to the texture. Before I play it with both hands, just want to remind you, you can practice this section with the same 3 steps exercise we did earlier. Especially because the accents on the right hand are placed differently, it can be challenging to put them together properly. Alright, let's play. The next phrase, I am not going into detail, as it is quite familiar texture and you can implement the same practice here. In the first 4 bars, I do the same phrasing as before. At this point, we have a long build-up, which brings us to the culmination. It is critical how we build it up, because as it could be a very effective climax, it could as easily be ruined. On the paper, we can say both hands are developing intensely. Though, in the right hand, we have a break where the pause is. Imagine the left hand as automatic car, where you don't hear the gear change. And the right hand is a manual car, where you need to change the gear yourself. Well, let's take a ride with both hands. next next 2 bars, I will just increase the intensity and the power to ensure there will be a satisfying climax. The last 4 bars, which is the culmination itself, should be very explosive but not aggressive. I think there is a quite thin line in between. By being flexible with the wrists, you can easily avoid having an aggressive sound while still being able to play very powerfully. This is my general plan on how to approach the first part, which will be pretty much the same when it comes back after the middle part. Let's move on to the middle part of the piece. I like to start powerfully with the intro and decrease the dynamics right away. It reminds the first intro from the beginning, literally to take the audience from the storm to walking on the clouds in a very short amount of time. Alright, let's go for the right hand. We have a very naive and sort of nostalgic melody, which to me feels like remembering a love relationship from the past. I want to change the sound world entirely here. Chopin puts it as Moderato Cantabile and sottovoce. He suggests to play, or rather sing, in a whispering way, calmly. Let's play the first phrase. I will start very gently. Then develop. Here, a little bit more. And let's finish the phrase softly. Let's quickly check the left hand. Also here, it needs to be way softer compared to right hand, as it has the accompaniment role. The bass tones are still more significant, but in general very soft and gentle. Here, let's bring out the melody, which Chopin describes with the accents. It is sort of a reflection to the right hand's melody. Before I put them together, I want to say a few words about the timing. There can be different options when it comes to rubato, and I believe we need to have a certain freedom to be spontaneous with that. It can show varies depending on your mood or the way you feel the piece. What I like to do is to slow down when I play softer and speed up when I want to increase the dynamics. Of course, we must be very careful not to overdo it. The reason I like to do so is that it helps me to calm or develop the phrase in a more effective way. In other words, to make it more convincing for the listener. Hear how it goes. The next phrase is almost the same, and therefore I will skip it for now. Let's move on to the new phrase. Here, Chopin goes more in extreme with the dynamics. We have sforzando and forte dynamic, followed with pianissimo. He hasn't used any of these dynamics in the middle part before, so it is important to make this phrase stand out. Imagine that the left hand creates a beautiful landscape, where the story of the right hand unfolds, meaning we should play the left hand much softer. Let's put them together. Now let's move on to the last part. As it is repeated identically with the first part of the piece, I will directly move on to the coda. I think this last section is probably the most dramatic part of the piece. Chopin uses very familiar texture in the right hand from earlier. Just make sure to highlight the accents and be very precise with the dynamics. Also, make sure to bounce with your wrist on each first 16 note to have a nice sound, to keep the hands relaxed, and also to play the slurs comfortably. Nothing much to say for the left hand. Just try to be precise with the dynamics and the slurs. Now let's put them together. Alright, that was all for the technical part. Now I want to talk about pedaling. There are different ways to implement the pedals throughout the whole piece, and it can be personal. What important is to not mix the harmonies. But I want to give you a few suggestions to take it a little further. In the first part, I like to change the pedal twice in each bar with the bass tone. In addition to that, only when playing the very first melody, I like to use the pedal for half bar and play without pedal the other half. In my opinion, it adds diversity to the color. For the third phrase, we have two options. You could either change the pedal 4 times with the accents on the right hand, or twice with the bass notes. It's up to you. In the middle part, we are dependent on the melody rather than the left hand. Because it is relatively slower here, I want to present the melody as transparent as possible. In the Coda, I'll go back to using the pedal twice in each bar. And perhaps the very end. Again, my pedaling will be dependent on the left hand's melody, which is sort of a reminder of the middle part. You can also use the left pedal when you want to create a significant contrast. For instance, when playing the third phrase. Or when you want to play very softly in the middle part. Now I will play the whole piece for you and put everything together I talked about in this video. Let's go. Well, that was all I wanted to tell. If you enjoyed my video, you can show your support by giving a like, as it helps me out. And if you want to see more tutorials, make sure to subscribe. See you in the next one.